1988, Bull Durham.
Oh my God, this movie is so good, despite some truly unnecessary uses of the word pussy and cock, like in like a high profile
Ron
places.
Shelton absolutely cooking.
You know, but it's like we could have edited that out of one of the.
Do you like the speech?
This speech is incredible.
Yeah.
And like the thing is the speech starts with that line, and you're just like, oh no, and then Costner just drives it back on the road, and you're like, yes, yeah, it's incredible.
This is still early enough in his career that you can tell he couldn't convince Shelton to like kill his darlings.
Yeah.
This movie has a lot of darlings. It's very floridly written.
Yes.
And
I mean, and you know, whatever Susan Sarandon is doing, which is transcendent. She's so wonderful, but that's quite a character.
They both have to work overtime to sell the jock poetry of the movie, which totally works.
Yeah.
Like it works 100%. In the hands of another actor, it might not work as well. It's also really interesting that he goes along with it and does it, and like the soulful, you know, sexy jock poet myth is born here for him. He really doesn't do it that much more.
No.
He plays athletes more. And in his later career, he sometimes kind of like grasps at it. But he kind of never did this again.
Yeah.
Even in Tin Cup, which is another Ron Shelton movie, which we'll talk about shortly.
But he does another thing in Tin Cup. It's
good,
similar.
but it's more McQueen. It's more pulled back.
Well, he's older also,
you know? Like Don Johnson's got more like shit heel, like, you know, speechifying stuff. Anyway, we'll get there shortly.
That's true. It's very clear that Kevin Costner would prefer not to say words.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and in this one, he has like a full Sorkin speech.
Totally.
You know, and
talking a lot.
It's great.
1989, Field of Dreams.
Just the absolute greenest of all greens.
I hadn't seen this in a long time. I watched it with my wife because she was like, I love Field of Dreams. Let's watch that one. And I really enjoyed it. I have nothing negative to say about it, really, other than this is really one of the weirdest movies of all time that's become an American classic.
It is so strange. But when Costner is right, he's incredibly right. Like, it is sports. It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
It is like completely magical, but
literally, like I think I had forgotten how magical realism this
totally
is.
Magical, but there is something also about his performance,
Mm-hmm.
which again doesn't have that many words, but is like very lived in. I really like the Amy Madigan character.
Yeah, she's great.
And like enough. There is some of the Sarandon whimsy in it, but she's also pretty practical. And also, you would like your partner to just be like, yeah, sure, build a field, no problem.
She's extremely supportive, and also, you know, the movie. I posted a short review on Letterboxd about this movie, and someone in the comments posted something very insightful and correct, which is that her character especially, but the movie in general, is this really interesting call from baby boomers to try to get back to how they saw the world and what they believed in the 1960s. Like, that is ultimately what the movie is about, is like, we need to believe in a kind of utopian possibility if we are good to each other and sincere and do things forthrightly.
Right.
Which, like, the building of the baseball field, the commitment to the concept, the like rejection of the Timothy Busfield character, Amy Madigan's speech at the PTA meeting is in this weird stew of like, you know, like radical 60s politics plus loving America and baseball and corn, and also the Black Sox, who were cheaters but needed redemption. It's a funky movie.
It is the last best argument the boomers have made for themselves.
This is also a very different character than what we think of as the Costner archetype, which is like, he's a true believer. He's a deeply sincere guy. He doesn't even really get exasperated that much, even though he's got these wild ideas. Like, he has a kind of sunny, hopeful quality to him.
But he is haunted also, you know? Like, there are things, you know, as
he's a man with a dad.
As you remind me that all men are haunted by their dads.
Yeah, he's a man with a dad.
So he's like working through it, which adds like just like a little, and his regret as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which adds a little bit of tension to the strong-jawed character.
The thing that the movie that I think has resonated with so many, especially men over the years, and has made it such a kind of boomer cliche, is the, you know, not just the, hey, dad, want to have a catch sequence, but the idea that men from that generation had such a hard time getting to know and understanding and building a relationship with their fathers.
Right.
In this movie in particular, it's really interesting because his dad is much older than him. And I had forgotten that big prologue where he does the narration.
I
and
know,
he talks about
it's
the
like,
arc of his family's life.
It's so cliched, but it's so good.
It really
they
works.
Nail it.
It really works. It's a really, really good movie.
I remembered what I was going to say, which is just that in the, the famous John Mulaney at the Oscars bit, recapping Field of Dreams. And he's like, I thought that was a real book until well into my 20s. And I have to be honest, I learned it was not a real book when John Mulaney gave the speech at the Oscars.
Terrence Mann. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's part of it is like James Earl Jones is so good in the movie that you're like, that's definitely based on someone real.
Yeah.